Hey, this that Eastside Johnny Big Redemption like. Know what I'm talking about? Hold up. Whoa, 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 whoa. Get out the way, get out the way, get out the way, yeah. Yeah. Get out the way, get the fuck up out my way, yeah. Yeah.
Basically talking about how Derrick Rose would be considered one of the best, if not for like getting injured. So from there, we were basically talking about what the biggest moments or like the biggest what ifs when compares to like when it comes to down to players, or even we were planning to like bring it out into a broader spectrum and bring teams into it too. And when it comes to teams, I don't think there's any other team which is be as affected as the Portland Trailblazers. And Abhyun, being like one of its biggest fans, can actually like go ahead with it. So yeah, let me know what do you think about it.
Dude, as like a guy from India who doesn't support like mainstream teams, it's so hard to come to facts with the fact that, like, dude, the Portland Trailblazers at various points have been so on the cusp of being great. Like, had it not been for like a decision here or an injury there, like you just look at two isolated instances in themselves. So like the 1986 draft, I guess, was or 1984. The greatest player to ever play the game. I mean, I'm not even including the fact, like, I'm not even like bringing up the word arguably. Like, in everyone's dictionary, he's definitely somewhere there or thereabouts, bro. Like, Michael Jordan was on the table, and like, he's, people can show their dismay over here. But, dude, fuck them, bro. Like, change the game in a way that no one can, bro. Like, on the court as well as off, because he's been more marketable than probably anyone there is right now, dude. He hasn't stepped on the court since 2000, what, 2004, 2000? No,
2003.
he was definitely there. Like 2004, I think, is when he retired. So yeah, dude, like he hasn't stepped on the, and he's still raking in millions right now, dude. The
Jordan.
effect he had like on the shoe industry and the way they sign contracts and all, it's just unparalleled, bro. Like the fact that there is a Players Association right now stems a lot from what Michael Jordan did back in the day. So, and on top of that, he's arguably like the best player to ever play the game, dude. Like the way, I mean, he's definitely the most fundamentally sound basketball player, if not talented. But dude, his footwork, his fadeaways, like the work he did, like on the post and all, being like a guard. So all that considered, and the fact that he always came up in big moment situations, dude. So the fact that the Portland Trailblazers could have had all that, and they still picked Sam Bowie, who, I mean, fine. Like he played for Kentucky. He was like a reliable big man. Like that time, it was a big man's league over there. So I mean, in hindsight, it seems bad, but at the time, like no one knew that he was gonna get injured or stuff like that. So I mean, it's funny how things played out with that pick, because Sam Bowie is nowhere. I think he's running a ranch right now somewhere, like with horses and shit. I mean, something like that has nothing to do with basketball, bro. And like, you have like, I mean, Michael Jordan, who's the owner of Charlotte, like fucking billionaire right now. Um, yeah, dude. And then that moment in itself is enough to punch yourself in the gut while you look yourself in the mirror. But like, it's almost like fucking tragic how history repeats itself, bro. Because in 2007, you have arguably the most unguardable offensive player that we've seen in the last half century. Because like Kevin Durant he has all the tools offensively. He's like this 6'11" freak of nature, bro. Like he can pull up from anywhere, and his release is at such a high point that no one's ever gonna reach it, dude. So I mean, he's arguably the best scorer since Kareem, and then too, like they choose not to go for him, and they draft Greg Oden, dude. And like, I'm the biggest Greg Oden fan around, dude. Like, the reason, I mean, seeing him on 2K12 and 2K8 was the reason why I started playing basketball to begin with. But to see him go down the way he did, like, to have that extend into a period where you could have Kevin Durant with other tools around him, dude. Like, that Portland team was not shit at all, dude. They had Lamarcus Aldridge, they had Brandon Roy again, who's another tragic case because the guy could ball, dude. Like, he was rookie of the year in I think 2008. I have no idea. I forget the year, but he was a rookie of the year. He was a multiple time All-Star as well, and dude, I think it was Kobe Bryant who just gave him props. Like, he was probably the hardest guy to guard back then. So all that, dude, like, within just losing out on those two players, robbed Portland of like probably like 2 decades worth of like showing up in the playoffs. Forget like making noise or like competing at that time, but just like at least having like a say in the postseason, dude.
So what I think was like the Jordan pick, which they missed out on, that would have changed the city, not only like basketball wise, but like culturally as well. It would have made Portland a big market team for sure. Like, you have Jordan in the city, like it changes everything for the franchise, and it also attracts bigger names.
Revolutionize the sneaker industry, dude.
Yeah.
And as Portland's headquarter is in, Nike's headquarter is in Portland.
Portland,
dude.
yeah.
Have Michael Jordan there just like means so much, bro. Like, the amount of investment that could have been channelized into that franchise, it's remarkable, bro. Like, honestly, like, the only setback that I can see is that having Jordan, they might not have arguably their best player ever, Clyde Drexler, because they're both shooting guards.
Dame's better.
Huh? Sorry?
Dame's better.
No, I'm saying if they drafted Jordan, they wouldn't get Drexler.
Okay.
Because both 2 guards, bro. Like,
yeah,
that's the fallback that I can see. And another what if with Portland is like going way back in the day, dude. Had Bill Walton stayed healthy, dude. The guy was just coming off an MVP season, and dude, he's probably the second best college player in history after Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. So just to like lose a player to injury over there, dude. So like, there's like a fixed track record, bro, of like near misses, bro. Like, and just all that to happen to one team, bro. Like, it's hard to digest.
And Portland has always, like, historically had, like, they've never had bad teams. They've had good teams. They had the Jailblazers with fucking Smitty and all of them playing. Like, they've always had, like, teams which could always, they had the potential. They've always had potential to do well.
They had Dame and Lamarcus together, bro, at some point of time.
Even now,
I
like,
think
the
that
team
was
isn't bad.
About it, bro. Like, that threesome of Lamarcus Aldridge, Greg Oden, and Brandon Roy, that could fucking rip, bro. Like,
Yeah.
that's like crazy, dude. Like,
And then Lillard comes in after that. It's crazy.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
Like, so I was thinking more about the early 2000s Portland teams, because they did have fucking Scottie Pippen, and they had Sheed. They had Rasheed Wallace, who I love. He's a great player. They had Smitty. They had who's the point guard? They had Mookie Blaylock, who was like locked down. So that team could have done well in the West, but they came up against teams like the Lakers. And,
Shaq
yeah.
and Kobe Lakers.
yeah, so that was also, I think, something that hindered them, because the West has almost always been stacked. So, and like Portland,
Pretty much.
like, always found it hard to get past like some of the top tier teams in the West. That's what I feel.
No, it would have been pretty interesting for me to actually see how Jordan would have done with the West in case Portland drafted him. that would have been a pretty interesting thing, because at that point of time, the East in the 90s was like exactly how loaded the West is right now. So the
No, but-
East in the 90s at that point of time was pretty good. Like
Dude,
you had
he's been bumped into Showtime Lakers, bro. So like,
Yeah.
always like a hindrance somewhere or the other, dude. Had not the bad boys fucking carved something onto Jordan's legacy, the Showtime Lakers definitely would.
Yeah.
would
Because I see Showtime Lakers as a better team than the Bad Boy Pistons. dude.
For
So
sure.
like,
I
They
had
think
more
that the
weapons.
Showtime Lakers and the Magic Johnson impact would have been harder on Jordan than the Bad Boys also.
Yeah.
To be able to reign over Magic Johnson in the West and then over the NBA could have been a factor.
Because pre-Jordan and early Jordan eras were dominated by Magic. Like Magic owned that shit.
Exactly.
He was the best player in the league.
I feel actually that Magic's legacy that way would have been pretty funny. Like he would have had to go through Jordan in the West and actually meet Bird again in the finals most of the
And
time.
beat him.
Yeah, and beat him. That would have been, Bird beat him like twice, but yeah,
That's
I mean,
fine.
once actually, not even twice. Yeah, but okay. Speaking of Jordan, bro, what do you guys think of him going like those 2 seasons he went out and played baseball? Like, what do you think would have happened if he actually didn't go out those 2 seasons? If he had
Even
actually
they-
stayed?
Wouldn't say it.
I think that's 2 more chips.
Easy.
For sure. For sure.
Easy money, bro. That's easy money for Jordan, bro.
It's not like any of the other
So you
teams
think-
became
so you
way
think
better
Hakeem-
when he left.
So you think Hakeem wouldn't have got those 2 rings?
He would have lost in the
Back to
final.
back?
That's what would have happened.
I think that would just make the GOAT debate for LeBron so much more harder, for Kobe so much more harder. That's
Yeah.
about it. But I don't think that was stopping Jordan, though. Though it was interesting how he went to baseball.
Okay. Let me tell you my theory on this. Jordan was a gambler. Everyone knows this. He fucking loved to gamble. Like that's all he used to do. And he's super competitive as well. So he wouldn't like stop. I think he lost a lot of money and had to take loans from the mafia and couldn't pay them back because of his gambling. And then right before, so if you look at the timeline also, right before he left, like the season before he left, no, at the season he left actually, at the end of the season, his dad died. My theory on that is the mafia killed his dad because he owed the money and like he couldn't pay them back. And then he went to baseball. He went to baseball because the baseball contracts are fucking huge. The baseball contracts were huge at that point, and he got his money and he paid. No, it's not just a conspiracy theory because
But
it's on record of a mob boss saying that
Michael Francesi was the mob boss.
He said that it's probably this is what happened.
He was one of the underbosses of the 5 families of New York, and at that point of time, he was pretty. So if he says he has pretty good sources, and he said it in a Vlad TV interview.
Yeah, the Colombo crime family.
Yeah. So it was not like Jordan wanted to go and play baseball, but he was more likely to forced to go play baseball by the NBA because they didn't want any damage to their reputation. Because they were just coming in from an era where Bird and Magic had just restored NBA, and Jordan took it to another level. They didn't want a controversy to basically like bring the NBA back down again. So that
Also,
was one
like
of the
Jordan
biggest
was the
conspiracies.
perfect player to be able to transition into a different sport and then come back to his sport and dominate because he was already one of the greatest of all time when he left. And everyone knew about his competitive drive and everything, so it made sense in like the public's mind that he could go to another sport and then come back, and without any suspicions at all. So
the only guy who I've ever seen actually be really successful in 2 sports were like the sports like that was prime time, bro. Deion Sanders.
Bo Dallas. Bo Jackson.
Bo Jackson. Yeah. So coming back down, like once we're done with the Jordan era, the biggest what if for me, at least personally, after that, and something which is really, really personal to me, was Kobe and Shaq Lakers. Obviously, when Shaq left. Okay, I didn't start following basketball at that point of time, but I was always curious to actually sit and think like, what if they had never left? Like, what if Shaq never left, or like, what if Kobe and Shaq actually like ended up? You know what? Okay, their egos are too life size to throw out of the window, but yeah,
Four
for
more
sure.
rings.
For sure. Like, I felt the amount of like, I'm sure at the end of the day, Kobe would have been the GOAT.
Yeah. Four more
Kobe
rings.
would have been
But
the GOAT
then
for sure.
Broken up by the
that's.
Spurs. That's it.
Would we see a Black Mamba though? If
That
Kobe and
is-
Shaq continued, would we see a 24 Kobe who went ballistic?
No, we don't.
Nah,
That's
that
also
wouldn't
part
have
of the
happened.
same what if, right? Yeah, I'm sure Kobe would have had it, but then as you said, it was Shaq's Lakers
Yeah.
back as he won.
Now the thing was, Shaq got older. As he got older, I think it would have the reins would have been passed on to Kobe naturally as well, and Kobe would be the first option because the league was also transitioning at that point,
Yeah.
going more guard, not 3-pointers, but more guards.
Guard oriented.
Yeah. And at that point, point guards were also dominating the league. Fucking Nash won 2 MVPs, which he shouldn't have. And
One for sure was Kobe, man.
and one was Shaq.
D'Antoni, bro.
That's all.
D'Antoni is what made Nash great.
Exactly. That system is what made him great. He's a system player.
But what, under how many seconds again?
7 seconds.
Yeah, under 7 seconds.
Yeah. So I
So-
think it's pretty unanimous that those Lakers would have definitely won at least 3 or 4 more.
But I think if Shaq stayed with Kobe, it would have cemented Shaq's legacy stronger.
He would have been undoubtedly the best big man of all time.
Exactly. I think he would go down to one of the greatest players also too, with the kind of finals record he would have
He could have
maintained.
gone to top 5 easy.
Exactly.
And but the only thing was we needed Shaq to leave to see that Kobe, to see the Mamba.
Exactly. Yeah. I agree with that too.
So,
Needed to see the 2-4.
yeah. That's it.
That assassin
Yeah.
Mamba mentality.
But if you think about the other teams around at that point as well, I think only the Spurs were a legitimate challenge to those Lakers because the East was complete trash at that point.
Yeah.
Detroit team that beat the Lakers, none of them were ever All-Stars again, I feel. They were All-Stars that 1 year. It was a one-off.
Bro, imagine Ben Wallace. Ben Wallace is a really, really, really good defender. 2-time Defensive Player of the Year. You gotta give him credit where credit's due. But bro, at the end of the day, imagine guarding Shaq, bro. That's Shaq after all. At the end of the day,
It's punishment,
he's just
bro.
unguardable. He's just
Punishment.
unguardable. He's just unguardable on his day.
Mhm.
And at that point of time, Shaq was still prime Shaq. As
Just
seen by the
getting out of his
2006. Still prime.
Yeah,
Good
just getting out of his prime. Yeah.
Yeah.
04, 05. So somewhat still there. He's
He was
still
lazy
there.
Shaq at that point.
For sure, and that's Kobe just getting into his prime at that point of
Yeah.
time. Just transitioning away from Shaq.
Kobe's
So
prime
that
was it started pretty early and went on till he was 33, which is pretty cool. If you think
It started somewhere around 2005, 06 for me, and went on till
Nah, Kobe 8 was also a little prime only, bro.
Yeah, dude. Kobe 8. Afro Kobe was also pretty fire, dude.
Yeah.
I think Afro Kobe was also damn nice.
He took it to the next
Watch.
level, but he was definitely at least he was a top 5 player in the league after his 3rd season throughout.
Throughout.
By the way, talking about players actually leaving certain teams to actually end up winning rings, or players staying in certain teams, I know there'll be one team which has always come up in everybody's mind again and again, the greatest what if in most of the people's minds. And yeah, people call him a snake for leaving and whatnot. People abuse him. There's so much trash talk going on. I'm sure OKC fans will never forgive him ever for that. And I'm sure at some point of time, Russ and him will have a show like Kobe or Shaq or Isaiah and Magic. They'll sit down and talk about things. I'm sure they're going to mint money off that. But yeah, what do you guys think of KD and OKC? What about that team?
Okay, before Tarang starts, let me just give my thoughts on this. I think it was time for him to leave. He had got as much as he could out of that team, and he had to leave to get a championship. He's a championship caliber player. He needs to be like at least challenging for rings every season. So I think it was the right time to leave. The way he left might have been wrong, but it was the right time.
No, but if we're talking about OKC, why are we like starting here, bro? You have to dial it a little behind, bro, because they lost arguably one of like the top 3 offensive players ever, dude, in James Harden. Like not too many years before that.
But that is my point on the OKC.
Yeah,
if OKC trio was together, would we ever get to see a Harden like this?
Would we ever get to see Russ's that historic triple-double season?
Yeah, that's
exactly.
There's not enough balls to go around, but then the biggest what if is not KD staying or leaving, but like just integrating that core together, dude. Like on this call.
Those are 3 MVPs, bro. 3 MVPs.
Yeah.
Exactly. Those 3 MVPs on 3 different teams.
Talking from an OKC fan's perspective, Tarang, what do you think?
Yeah, we would like to hear this, man.
Go ahead.
The stage is yours.
Like let's look at it this way. These guys drafted KD, and I think immediately moved to Oklahoma from Seattle. And then the next year they drafted Westbrook. They were pretty like fuck all until a certain point wherein they drafted Harden, and all of a sudden they realized that they have 3 insanely talented players, and Serge Ibaka as well. You could see that he was going to be a mainstay in the league for a lot of time going forward. And yeah, dude, that team had in its first like full-on season together, wherein all of them were playing at full potential. They killed it, man. They reached the Western Conference Finals where they beat the Spurs. And they went on to get thrashed by LeBron. But yeah, I mean, like, I think where it all started in terms of a downfall for that team was like they had to renew KD and Westbrook to how much ever money those guys wanted, because it was pretty evident that those two were bona fide superstars in the making, right? And after that, when the year came where Harden and Ibaka were both due big contracts, right? They couldn't give both of them the money that they were looking for. And at the time, little did they know that 2 years later, which is I think in around 2013 or 14 or whatever, there's going to be that insane salary cap spike, right? And in the end, what really ended up happening was, listen, James Harden gave everything to the franchise, being a sixth man. And he was pretty open about the fact that, he agreed to take that role in order to get the team to greater heights. And he felt that what he was looking for in terms of money, this team couldn't afford to give him. And I believe what the Thunder wanted to give him in that season was a maximum of $52 million over 4 years, whereas James Harden's camp was rallying for $60 million over 4 years. And little did we know that 2 years later, this money would have been so insignificant that these guys wouldn't have hesitated with giving him that contract. But at the point, they couldn't have possibly foreseen that spike in the salary cap, and they had to let him go. And post that, I mean, that didn't really stop the Thunder. Those guys just continued going at it. And that season where KD was injured all year, and I think the Thunder finished 9th that year. I think one of the sort of aspects that we don't look at is how they fired the coach for finishing 9th. They fired Scott Brooks in a season when he didn't do anything. Like, what could he do? You have KD out for majority of the season. You have Ibaka out in stretches. You have Westbrook out in stretches. I don't think the smartest thing to do in that case is to go and fire your coach. Really, that's something we don't talk about, but I really don't think Scott Brooks should have been fired. Other than that, dude, I mean, we're going to talk about KD leaving and stuff. I love Russ. Yeah, I mean, Russ is the reason I started supporting OKC. And dude is nuts. He goes 400 miles an hour. Every single possession, he's, going balls out crazy on the court. I love the intensity that he brings to the game. I think he's a freaking phenomenal character to have around. But he's not going to be the focal point of a championship winning team. Russ is not going to win a championship if he is the number one option on a team. He is too inefficient as a scorer. And I think KD realized that the best thing to do clearly now is to join the only team that is better than us. And that's kind of why people were pissed for what he did. Is that he went and joined the team that just beat them. But sure, you could understand where the guy was coming from and what sort of support he would have. He essentially had two guys who are probably the two greatest shooters of all time. That's a debate for another day, but they're right up there in the conversation. And that sort of supporting cast is like no joke. I think they had won 73 games the season before.
Mm-hmm.
So KD's decision, you could see it, you could expect it. I remember my cousin gifted me a KD jersey 8 days before he announced that he was joining the Warriors. That was unreal. Yo,
Ouch.
I have a KD jersey in my cupboard. It's just been lying there for the last 4 years or whatever. I refuse to wear that jersey. I can only imagine what would have happened if she had bought me like a Westbrook jersey, man. But I'd really want you guys to pitch in here. What do you guys think? Do you guys think that KD would have been better off staying in a team with Westbrook as opposed to joining Steph and Clay on a team? Because as I said, I have no doubts of the fact that Russell Westbrook as the primetime focal point of a team is not going to win a championship.
Who wants
I
to
mean,
go?
I'll start, bro. Like the distinction can't be that cut and dry, bro, because you have to consider the fact that the season he left, that same team that you're giving so much props to was 3-1 down in the series.
Exactly.
Dude.
That's what I
Yeah.
wanted to say.
Away from elimination, dude, and then OKC just lost the plot, bro.
Yeah, I mean, OKC blew a 3-1 lead
Point.
before the Warriors blew a 3-1 lead. It's just like...
Before it was cool, bro, but that being said, like the distinction isn't as great as you make it out to seem, dude. Because Westbrook, okay, fine, the guy can't shoot to save his life, but he's also like probably the best hustle person you can have, dude. Like the guy just wears his heart out on the sleeve every game for like 48 minutes, dude.
Yeah.
So, I mean, sure enough, dude, he's never going to be like a first option on any given night. But that being said, dude, he has tools to make any team better, dude, like given the situation, dude.
Yeah, for sure. I think he's definitely like a winning player. He's not a championship player. Unfortunately, as unfortunate as that is, because the guy is all out nuts. He has a motor like no one else. Interestingly enough, when I remember Patrick Beverley, being the pest that he is, decided to run into Westbrook's knee during that playoff series. That was the first time Westbrook ever ended up missing a game, right? Through high school, college, or the NBA, right? That is after 6 or 7 years, the dude was forced to miss a game because some idiot ran into his knee when a timeout was called. So listen, I have nothing but love for Westbrook, but I could. It's pretty evident why KD chose, going to the Warriors. As far as the OKC Big Four or Big Three or whatever you want to call it, man, that was a hard few years as a fan of the franchise. Like
That was actually a big 6 if you think about it, though.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah,
well,
you put Ilyasova in there. He was integral to that team with the defense.
True.
Yeah.
And then who was the center? The center was who? It was
Perkins.
Perkins.
Kendrick Perkins.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Kendrick
yeah. You had
Perk, I think.
He
Perk
was
there.
arguably better in OKC than he was in the Celtics.
For sure, bro. He was any day better in OKC than he was in Celtics. And when it comes to Westbrook actually being a championship player, for me, I would actually kind of disagree, bro. Westbrook, for me personally, I feel it depends on a fit in certain teams. For example, right now, I feel this Rockets team, I know a lot of people would actually flame me for this, but I think he would have had a pretty good chance with Harden this time, genuinely. It actually
Balls,
depends.
bro. You can see a meltdown incoming as soon as the playoffs begin with that team. Like
Yeah, but that seems like a trend with Westbrook teams. For example, when PG played with him, they expected them to do pretty well, but they got knocked out in like the second round. And then the KD Westbrook teams, they like reached their ceiling. And basically but at the end of the day, you're forgetting this is a guy who averaged or tripped up for like 3 seasons straight, bro. And no one's like done that since Oscar Robertson. Like in a right system, if you utilize him in a right manner in the right system, I'm sure he can actually be a pretty like good integral piece in winning a championship, bro. But I'm sure like he can't win it on his own. Yes, but with the right players, I think Harden's the right fit for him right now, since they played together since they were kids, so they automatically have that chemistry. I think he has a pretty good chance right now. So basketball fit wise, I agree where you're coming from. Basketball fit wise, at that point of time, it was a no-brainer. Like anyone would end up choosing GSW at that point of time, despite them coming off like a 3-1 loss. I mean, like despite them losing or blowing a 3-1 lead in the finals. Because at the end of the day, like KD is a pretty good shooter himself, bro. But the team, they ended up sharing the ball a lot. Steve Kerr's system ended up suiting him way much more. So basketball-wise, that was pretty much a no-brainer. But
talking about Westbrook and his system here, right? Like, I mean, if we want to like put it to test over the next couple of years, there's no one better to play under than D'Antoni as far as working in a system is concerned. So that's definitely there. And Westbrook averaging triple doubles for 3 seasons straight. I mean, Oscar Robertson averaged a triple double for a season. I don't think anyone's like averaged 2 straight triple doubles.
Average triple double for that decade, though.
For a decade, bro, 10 seasons straight.
Yeah.
What are you saying? Are you guys serious?
Yeah.
No, it wasn't like consecutive. It
No,
was like
it was
all the stats together. He averaged a triple double for that decade.
Season-wise,
that way. Oh, okay.
Oscar Robertson won before this. And before 2015, if you asked any NBA player, they'll be like, what's one feat that could never be recorded again and all. Like okay, fine. Like Wilt Chamberlain, it's disputable whether he actually
100.
Whether he actually did that or just posed with a picture with the fucking.
go to
Come on, put some respect on the man's name, bro. Come on, it's Wilt.
He played as a janitor.
There's no one like who'd ever like pick someone to average a triple double over a season before fucking Westbrook went.
Especially a point guard.
Yeah,
bro, no question about that, bro. The guy's a first ballot Hall of Famer without a doubt, right? He's had some incredible seasons and he is an incredible player. The question here was that does that translate to championships? And in his case, unfortunately, him not making it past the second round of the playoffs ever without KD's help, with some star-studded support like Victor Oladipo, like Paul George.
Vio wasn't that good at that point. Vio only got good at Indiana.
Vio became good at Indiana.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy was supposed to be that, like, he is brought in to be that second option to Westbrook. So, you know, the intention with that was definitely for the guy to be at a support level. But for sure, and this was also when Westbrook was out to prove himself, saying that, you know, I don't need KD to do this. I will do this myself.
Yeah, I can compare Westbrook's impact on a game to like CP3's impact on the game. Even though he's not the first option, he sometimes has more impact on the game than the first option does. Like CP3 was never the first option in those Lob City Clippers, but the impact he had on that team, like with him and without him, was night and day. I think it's the same thing as Westbrook. If you took Westbrook out of the KD team, the OKC KD team, it wouldn't have worked. If you took Westbrook out of the Paul George team, if you had only Paul George with those OKC teams, like it wouldn't have worked at all. I think Westbrook's impact is very underrated. I get he's not efficient and all that, but I think you can have him as not the first option in scoring wise, but he gets the most touches on the team. That can happen, I feel, on a championship team.
But over here, just I would like to make a distinction between Westbrook, the individual who's never gonna be touched ever, dude, and Westbrook, the team player, bro. He's fighting for rebounds with Steven Adams, bro. Like Steven Adams actually has to like run back on offense so that Westbrook can get his 10th rebound, bro, which is kind of embarrassing, dude. So on that sense, bro, like that's a little cannibalistic, bro. You're eating into your own team stats and all that stuff. It's not like he's crowded.
That's where most of the Westbrook hate stems from anyway.
No, but that was only the seasons after KD left, because he was out to like prove a point at that point. He was like he can run this shit without KD. That was the thing.
Yeah, see, listen, there's no doubt that he's one of the most special players to ever step on a basketball court. Like, he was so close to Nipsey Hussle, and when Nipsey died, this dude decided that he would go out and do a 20-20-20. Like, you don't decide that you're going to do that and go out and do it.
No,
right?
Russ is the only
Roll in
player.
60s.
He's the only player in the NBA, apart from LeBron, who can actually get a triple-double at will, I feel.
Yeah.
At will, he can go get a triple-double.
Ben Simmons can. He can
get a triple-single. Ben Simmons needs to work on his scoring, I feel. He needs a jump. Until he gets a jump shot, he's not anywhere close to any list.
Ben Simmons been working on his scoring off the field, bro. Not on the court.
I think 20 years from now, a podcast topic could be what if Ben Simmons had developed a jump shot over the course of his career. Because honestly,
bro, he's a liability in the fourth, bro. If you put him on the first of all, if he doesn't want to defend, he's basically invisible on the court. And playoffs, he completely vanished. Playoffs,
Bro, my only point is, if Jared Dudley is confident enough to not defend you on the 3-point line, you're useless. You're useless, bro. You can't let Jared Dudley feel happy about you, bro. How is that happening?
Draymond and Ben Simmons are the same player, but Ben Simmons is more mobile.
Put some respect on Jared Dudley's name, bro.
No, don't put any respect on Jared Dudley's name. Don't. Why? Why do you want
No, but all that said, for me, the whole OKC debate was always about if KD will stay back or no. What if KD stayed back? Because I'm guessing Harden was 6th man of the year, and though he publicly said he took the role on, it was obvious given KD and Westbrook, Harden would have to leave. There was no space for So what if KD stayed back was the more important question. And I think, if KD stayed back, given how they generally used to get along before he left, that was also one solid team chemistry that was built, a team that was built out of from drafts.
Yeah, I mean, they still had Ibaka. They had used Harden's deal to get players like Steven Adams in there. And this was a time when their roster was pretty
And
deep
I
as well.
think there's one more guy who generally is Andre Robertson. He's been injured for quite a few seasons now.
3 years.
But that guy's pretty tight on defense.
He fell off the face of the earth, bro. 3 years he's been injured.
Exactly, but I think he was also pretty tight as a defender on the perimeter also.
That's all he was, though.
He was kind of doing what Tony Allen did on
When you have Westbrook and KD, why would you want anybody else trying to run the offense? You just need a guy who will
he couldn't
ensure these two guys don't have to get tired.
He couldn't even shoot. That was the problem. Did Ray Allen have a stint with the Thunder?
Dude, shoot. He had a 36% free throw.
Yeah. Didn't Ray Allen have a stint with the Thunder?
No.
Derek Fisher did.
D-Fish did. Yeah.
Ray Allen was with the Seattle Supersonics, bro.
Yeah.
That was pre-Thunder, bro.
That was before, Sonics shifted to OKC. He left in 2007 to Celtics.
The Sonics have had some freaking unbelievable players over the course of time.
GP.
Gary Payton, bro. Hall of Famer.
Sean Kemp.
Sean Kemp. Underrated again.
Yeah. Dude, I think right now, this season was probably the most promising we've seen the Thunder ever since KD left, to be very honest. Yeah. We need to see whether this team decides to, keep this core intact, whether they decide to like run this thing back or they decide to
If for
the
Depends on
assets that they have
CP3.
in.
whoever they keep or no, they've got to keep SGA.
Yeah, Shai has to
Guys,
stay.
Shai has
again,
to
It's
stay.
obvious.
Dude,
Shai is
Talking
a
about
franchise
guys who
piece right
actually
now.
have trade value though. People like Steven Adams, people like Gallinari.
Gallinari, I
whether-
can understand.
Gallinari can leave. Steven Adams is more like a Nick Collison type of thing where you want him to stay. SGA.
Yeah, I think Steven Adam is going to do something what like Haslam did. Udonis Haslam, stay with the OKC forever.
Yeah, Nick Collison types. Yeah.
Yeah, irrespective of the impact.
I think you put all your money into SGA and you
Yeah.
build through the draft.
Yeah.
I think that's
You know what
happens.
the best part is? Thunder have so many options because of very very underrated cog, Sam Presti, bro.
Yeah.
Again,
Presti is
from
an
the agent's corner.
unbelievable GM.
From
dude.
the agent's corner again. So unbelievable general manager, come from the line of like San Antonio, like that structure. So obviously, like he knows his game. He knows his way out in and out of the game. Like imagine, bro, like back to back, like you end up having moments where your franchise can have disastrous moments if you don't make the right decisions. But he's managed to get them right more often than not. For example, even this season, no one expected Thunder to do that well. Like,
I don't think he did either.
yeah, but at the end of the day, getting so many picks, bro, at least he didn't get swindled at the end, no. Like,
Yeah, that is fine, but no one expected Thunder to do this. Like, basketball is played on the
no,
court.
I'm not talking about on court. I meant even off court, like the deals which they made. No one expected to them to get so many picks because you've seen teams get swindled before, right?
Mhm.
You've seen teams basically
Brooklyn. Brooklyn.
There you go.
Ramona.
Lost basically what, like 8 to 10 years, like of
Their future
solid
done.
years of their future done because of pathetic decisions. For example, you see the Knicks, bro, their whole franchise, bro, is based on pathetic decisions. Like you see how a GM with a strong mindset, a strong mentality is pretty like necessary in like situations like these, especially
I
in
think
small
you
market
see-
teams. Especially
I think
small
you see
market
these
teams.
warning signs from teams like Timberwolves, from the Kings, from the Knicks. They haven't made one good decision in a decade at least.
Yeah, but
Like,
that way
those are
I
the
agree with Anant on OKC. The fact that nobody expected them to do this well, but even if they didn't do it that well, it wasn't a completely lost season for them. They managed to gather some really good off-court options that they can
Right.
utilize eventually. But now
Yeah,
that they are
secured the
doing well,
future.
also it's a win-win season for them.
They secured
Yeah.
their future basically with that whole.
Yeah, exactly. Run through the
Yeah,
draft,
way-
put your money on SGA.
Let's talk about David Stern basically vetoing Chris Paul's trade to the Lakers just because
That was my
they
Black
needed to
Mamba
save.
being the greatest of all time ever. Ever. No debate. No debate. That's 4 championships being vetoed.
Yeah,
Great.
definitely. Like at least
No,
four.
on court. No, the on court impact is obvious, bro. He would have like automatically won many more rings for sure. But think of it. I'm asking you to think of it from a franchise perspective. So, like for example, like do you feel like the commissioner actually protecting a smaller market was actually necessary at that point of time? Like
No, see, he
compared
did
to a
that-
bigger
no, no.
market like
My
New
question
York.
is, he allowed that, and then he allowed Dwight to go join up with James Harden in the Rockets when Dwight was still like the best center in the league. Like-
Yeah, it's not about saving the interest of the small market, dude. You have to understand that New Orleans at the time was owned by the NBA, dude. So they needed that, bro. So they dude, like that's fucked up because they had their own owner's agenda at the time. So
Exactly.
yeah.
I think that is one of my biggest what ifs of the decade.
Yeah, why didn't they veto fucking KD signing for 73-9 Warriors then? If they're vetoing this shit?
Because
Why didn't they?
No, because 3 of them were like homegrown draft picks. No,
But
at
they're
the end of the day.
73-9, bro.
What about
but
the
at
Miami
end of the
Super
day,
Team,
Kobe's
bro?
the only one they acquired.
Kobe's homegrown draft pick.
Miami,
What about the
Maybe they're
Miami
going
super team, man?
Yeah,
We let
Miami.
the Miami super team happen,
Yeah,
but then they vetoed the CP3 trade.
yeah.
Oh,
They
yeah,
beat
that's it.
because it was sanctioned by the GM and not the owners, dude. So like that was the only reason why. And
Yeah, no, I know that's the reason, but the what if about it is just too tragic.
Yeah.
the very next year, I think the Pelicans got sold, bro, for some crazy amount because fucking CP3 was still on the roster. So
That like and that would have been like
By the way,
that's a dynasty, bro. That's a dynasty.
Exactly, I swear.
Yeah.
I think that's a core that would have.
That's the greatest backcourt of all time. If that
for
happens.
sure.
If that happens,
For
it's the
sure.
Hands
greatest
down,
backcourt of all
hands
time.
down. One of the greatest point guards of the decade, the greatest shooting guard of the decade,
Yeah.
hands down.
Yeah. But speaking of like Kobe, speaking of the greatest shooting guard of the decade, Kobe has been in another greatest what if moment. He did end up playing with one of the greatest point guards of all time. And he did
Nah,
end up
no, he
playing
didn't.
with
No, he never played
an
with good point
overrated
guard.
center at that point of
Yeah,
time.
when did he
played
play
with
with
good
Steph
point
Curry, bro?
I see hate for Steve Nash coming through all
Kobe
over.
never played a good point guard. He played with average point guard.
The Nash hatred is real over here, bro. That Nash hatred is real.
He only played with good big men.
So, but what did you think? No, but what did you?
I think
So, what did you?
I
Guys
think there was a couple of injury issues, and I think if one of those two, even Nash or Dwight, was not injured, it would have been a really great team.
They did make the playoffs though.
Yeah, no, they did make the playoffs.
Yeah. They
But
were a
then
good
that-
team with all the. I don't think it's just injuries, the chemistry issues as well.
Yeah,
Nash is
that-
40. Nash is 40. That's the only problem. Like he lost his legs at that point.
And yeah, everybody started losing their own thing. So I think the chemistry issue. But I think if injury was not a big player, you would have found a way because there was always some amount of chemistry issue.
I think Nash
It's
could have
always-
been injured. Nash could have gone. Dwight, if he had
Yeah,
stayed healthy, I think we could have easily done.
Yeah.
much better.
We could have
Dwight
won.
would
Bro.
have had
Pau
back
Gasol,
issue.
Kobe, and Dwight was another big three.
Yeah,
Easy.
easy.
So, and I
Dwight
think
had his
the
back-
issue was that Kobe is not new to having off-court issues with players,
But Dwight,
but
was.
he
Dwight was
always
soft.
knew how to maintain it. He always knew how to maintain it on the court. You know, for him, it was more about the winning than anything
Yeah.
else. So, I guess that would have still worked out if Dwight was healthier.
Also, the problem was Dwight was coming from Orlando in a situation where he was the number one option no matter what happened. Also, he had a small contract in Orlando. He got the money in LA. He saw the lights.
Yeah,
And he loved to have. He was like Shaq. He loved to have fun and everything. So
Glam,
that-
bro. He
and
lived the
Kobe
glam
and
life.
Shaq, that experiment already didn't work. in
He
the
was
past.
hanging around with pythons over his neck.
Yeah.
he was
like-
I mean,
randomly
Shaq was unguardable. Dwight was.
but they're
That's
different
the
type
only
of game,
difference.
though. Different types of game.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
Same physical beast, but different type of game.
True. Speaking of injuries and players
go,
getting
let's go.
injured,
Let's go.
So- one of
Let's
the
go.
greatest what if moments again, like one of
Mm-hmm.
considered one of the best point guards
By
at
who?
that point of time.
By who?
Considered come on, league-wise consensus, bro. Come on.
Uh-huh.
Come on. No,
Moving
that's
on,
just
moving
sad
on. Let's just
league-wise
drop the
consensus
name.
at that point of
Okay.
time.
Let's
Yeah,
just
yeah.
drop
So-
the name.
Yeah. Derek Rose, guys. Derek Rose.
Yeah,
What
yeah.
if he didn't get injured? Where do you see him going right now? Where do you see his career
Phoenix.
progressing?
You sent him to Phoenix, bro.
Okay,
Oh my God.
banter aside. What do you actually feel?
Back up for Kobe White.
Get out, bro.
Come on. Come on. Stop bashing the
I think
Vasu.
Chicago would have been in a position to be able to, make
Get
a
out of the
real
second
strong
round.
run for the ring.
Get out of the second
No,
round.
for the ring because Derrick Rose, youngest MVP, pretty marketable. Chicago Bulls, Jordan was there, and they've not seen another player like that in a while. D-Rose started showing up. I think they could have managed to pull another big player, another all-star on their team.
Yeah, for sure, bro. The franchise would have been relevant today.
Exactly.
Yeah. And fuck, it hasn't been for a while, and the franchise is utter shit right now.
That's true.
Like,
Just like